Hello, everybody.
This is this is a hard edition of Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Dirt to do, especially because of what happened yesterday. And we're recording this on Thursday night. And Vince, it's a big news bit. Obviously, the wrestling world lost China. We lost Joni Lauer, but that's not what it is for you. You lost a friend. This isn't. You didn't lose a legend. You didn't lose one of the greatest of all time. And I know this is a very difficult episode for you to do.
Jeff, this is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, but I have to do. I last night, bro, was about maybe 24 hours ago. I got a call from Kevin Nash, and I had just interviewed Kevin the night before. Kevin and I were up till about 3:30 in the morning, my time. So we did the interview Tuesday night, and Kevin called me Wednesday during the day to talk about the interview. And believe it or not, I was on the phone with Andre, and I see that Kevin Nash, Kevin's trying to get through. So I'm just thinking, okay, something about the interview. Maybe he thought of something he wanted to add, or whatever the case may be. So I cut Andre off, and I get on the phone with Kevin, and bro, like I'm thinking Kevin's gonna talk to me about the interview, and bro. He goes, I got to tell you something, man. He goes, it's not out there yet. He goes, but I got to tell you. And he said, he said China's dead.
I can't. I mean, I can't imagine what.
Well, Jeff, I have to say this, bro. I have to say this. First of all, bro, like there's no order that I can say any of this. So like, I'm just going to say it. But, I'm reading, I'm reading all the comments today. You have to understand something, Jeff. With me, there was no shock involved. I wasn't shocked. I saw this coming, and Jeff, I saw it coming, literally a good 2 years ago. But I want to try to put everything in order before I get to that, because so Kevin called me, and he just told me China's dead, and like I said, bro, I was not shocked by that news. It was unbelievable to me that it happened. Like it happened, but I was not shocked by the news. And Jeff, I got to tell you, my instinct was, and this is the God honest truth, man. It's about this time last night, and I'm like, I'm not going to get off of my couch and go on the computer, because I was hoping Kevin was wrong. Like, I knew if I went on my computer, I was going to get confirmation, and I did not want confirmation. So I stayed there. I mean, bro, for the good part of 2 hours, hoping Kevin was wrong. So, bro, I get up and I get on the computer, and my Twitter feed is just flooded. And Jeff, I got to tell you, I had not cried up until that point, because I think there was still a level of shock. But I got to tell you this, man, because these fans, her fans, they need to know this, bro. When I got on my, and it was my Twitter feed. It wasn't her Twitter feed. It was my Twitter feed. Bro, when I got on my Twitter feed and I just saw the level of love from her fans, one right after the next. I'm sitting there, Jeff, and I'm saying to myself, if only she could see this. Because I'm telling you, bro, she had no idea. She had no idea. And I'm reading tweet after tweet after tweet, and I'm crying because I'm thinking, if only she could be sitting behind a computer and reading what these people thought about her. Because, Jeff, I got to tell you, and I'm going to get to it, and I'm going to get through the whole story, but I have to tell you, knowing Joni the way I knew Joni, there was one thing Joni wanted, and it was to be loved, bro. And you can go to Joni's upbringing and the turmoil of her own family, the broken relationships, obviously what happened with the man that she loved and felt she thought she was going to spend the rest of of her life with. At the end of the day, all she wanted was to be loved. And when I'm reading these comments, I'm like, she did not have a clue, how these people felt about her. And it blew me away because she didn't know. Like, she didn't know. You cannot know that you are that loved and then have something like that happen. You can't, Jeff. I mean, you just can't. And bro, listen, Jeff, as you can see, and I've made this clear, I don't pull any punches. Bro, I deal severely with depression. And Jeff, part of the way of how I deal with the depression, because I don't take medication. And I know if I went to a doctor, I would be prescribed medication and I wouldn't take it. And we're going to get to that in a minute too. I'm going to cover everything here today because this is for her, bro. But when I woke up this morning, bro, and people are tweeting me and sending me emails and calling and this and that and the other thing, Jeff, I spoke to nobody. Raj from Wrestling Inc., sent me an email and said, Vince, we're doing a show about China at 8:00 tonight. Do you want to join us? And I was like, Raj, no. Bro, Medusa wrote to me and she said, can I call you? And I said, no, because, bro, when I deal with my depression, the only way I could deal with it, Jeff, is to suppress things. I have to suppress them, bro. If I think about them, that's when I'll fall into this black hole. So I have to suppress them. So the only way I could suppress it is I'm not going to talk about it. And I'm thinking of, Jeff, I knew we had to do this show tonight. We have a commitment to Podcast One. We have a commitment, bro, in life, things are going to happen. We have a commitment. I have to live up to that commitment. But in my mind, I was not going to talk about it. And I said, you know what? I'll let Jeff and Andre, say their piece. I can't talk about this because I'll lose it. But then, Jeff, I don't know. I went out with Amy, sometime about 6:00 or so. And, I was at Goodwill, by myself. Amy was doing her shop and I was doing mine. And I'm like, I have to be her voice. Like, I can't think about me and how am I going to deal with it? Am I going to break down? Am I going to be able to get through it? I can't think of me. This is not about me. I have to be her voice. Somebody has to be her voice. I have to be her voice. And that's when I decided, you know what? That's what this show is going to be all about. Because there's a lot of things, Jeff, I want to say. And right before this show, Jeff, I'm not lying yet. I prayed to Joni. I prayed to God. And I said, whatever I'm supposed to put out there, like, just put it out there through me. Like, I'm a vessel here behind this desk. Joni, whatever I'm supposed to get out there, God, whatever you want me to get out, just get it out there through me. That's it. That's all I care about. That's all I want to do. Because, Jeff, I'm going to tell you right now, and I hate this, but Jeff, I'm not going to a funeral. I'm not going to a wake. I can't handle that stuff. I don't, Jeff, my grandfather was probably the closest person in the world to me ever. And I did not go to his funeral because of these reasons. I can't deal with that. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I'm telling you, as I sit here and I'm speaking to everybody, and I prayed to both Joni and God, speak through me, Joni, whatever you want. Whatever you want me to get out there, just go through me.
Just a lot of people are like that. They don't go to funerals of their loved ones. And, she would completely understand that and expect that from you. And that's all that matters. And, you talk about, going through depression, and I go through similar things. And I've been getting a lot of tweets from people today that are worried, and I haven't heard Vince on Twitter. Is Vince okay? He hasn't said anything. And I didn't want to respond to these people and put words in people's mouths, but I know how it is. And that's why, I simply sent you a text. I'm here if you need me. The last thing you want to do is talk about it in that situation. You don't want to make people talk about it. When they're ready to talk about it, they will talk about it. And that's why you're doing this now. So, obviously we appreciate everybody that's been tweeting us and writing in concerned, but just know that when people are with depression are ready to talk, they will talk, and you don't want to bother them beforehand. And that's what you went through, Vince.
And Jeff, I want to go back to the beginning, and I want to really retrace steps. And there's a lot that I want to explain, and a lot I want to get out there. And there's a lot of things, I've never discussed before. But like I said, this is my tribute. This is it. This is it. I can't, my heart has never been this raw, in my entire life. Here it is. And Jeff, it all goes back to, bro, I'll never forget. And I will try to get through this. I don't want to keep anybody on here for 2 hours, but I think it's important. But Jeff, I'll never forget the very first day. We're at some television taping, and Triple H is sitting there eating lunch with a woman. And bro, you know how, Jeff, how many times do I go on the show and talk about special, unique, different, one of a kind? But, well, I don't need to tell you that this woman immediately caught my eye. So obviously, Triple H, who the F is that? He introduced me to, this is Joni Lauer. We trained together. We went to Kowalski's together, the whole 9 yards. Bro, Joni became China. And, bro, you have to understand everything, bro, in order to understand the impact that I think the breakup had on her. Because, bro, listen, let's be honest, everybody, and let's call a spade a spade. We all handle things differently. It depends on who we are. It depends on what our background is. It depends on what our very fiber is. We all handle things bro, there'll be people that'll be able to walk into that funeral and have no problem. So we all handle things differently. But bro, let's call a spade a spade. The breakup was the unraveling. And it was an unraveling she never recovered from. And in order for people to understand this, you got to go back to the beginning, and you have to know during those early years, bro, that China character that you saw on TV that never spoke, bro, that was China behind the scenes. Hunter always spoke for China. When I needed China to do something, I went to Hunter. And, China was the student, happy to be there, bro, as old school as it gets, because that was respect. She knew Hunter brought her in. She was not going to speak up and be out of line, especially in front of the office or in front of Ryder. Now, maybe if she disagreed with something, her and Hunter had a conversation, but in front of Hunter, she showed the absolute respect and never spoke up, bro. Never. Like I said, to the point that when I needed Joni to do something, I said I went to Hunter. That was the relationship. And bro, that was old school respect. I told you she was trained through Kowalski. That's where they got that from, the both of them. That's what's missing today. That's what I talk about every damn week, and people don't know what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You had a woman that was so unique and so special and so different, and because of her respect for her trainer and her coach and the business, she never even spoke up, even if she might have disagreed with something. So, Jeff, obviously I leave and I go to WCW. It's during that time the breakup happened between her and Triple H. Jeff, I had my own issues at WCW. Trust me, I had no idea what was going on in the time. I had no idea what was going on in Joni's life with Triple H and Stephanie. I was trying to survive in my situation. So, bro, I go through that. Finally, I go through TNA. I've lost contact with her for so many years, but she's forever like on my mind, bro. I'm seeing her on the Stern Show, out of her gourd. I'm seeing her on that reality show, bro, like just out of it, just totally out of it. So I knew she was going in a downhill spiral. So finally, I'm at TNA and I'm in a position that I could do something again. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to get a hold of her. And Jeff, I got to be honest with you. I never thought I'd be able to reach her. I can't even tell you here how I was able to get the contact. I didn't know where she was. I didn't know anything, bro. Somehow, some way, I got the contact. I got her on the phone. It was like I had seen her yesterday. We had a great conversation. I wanted her to come to TNA. She agreed to come to TV. I'll never forget, Jeff, that night, the first night I had seen her in probably, Jeff, oh my God, man, maybe the good part of 10 years, me, her, and Bruce Pritchard went out to dinner. Jeff, I cannot tell you how stunning and beautiful she looked. I mean, she took my breath away. And like, I just kept looking at her and telling her, Chyna, you look beautiful. I mean, I've never seen you look this beautiful. You look absolutely, I couldn't stop. I mean, that's how great she looked. And bro, Mick Foley, and I'm just going to say this because I don't know if I'd say this if she was here because I might be afraid. But in Mick Foley's tweet today, he talked about Chyna's laugh. And like there wasn't, nobody on this planet had the laugh of Chyna, because I'm going to say it now, bro. It was the female Herman Munster. I mean, that's who Chyna laughed. And bro, that's the thing, man. Jeff, she played this character on television. We watch it every week during the Attitude Era. Bro, when you got her in the back, she never stopped laughing. She never stopped making you laugh. She was always freaking smiling. I'm not saying that because I was here. The last time I saw her, it was the same Chyna. I mean, just totally opposite. And that freaking Herman Munster laugh, you knew it was her. There was like no mistaking it. So Jeff, she comes to TNA. And, she does that match with Kurt Angle. And, bro, listen, I've never talked about this before. I'm going to talk about it now. It was Chyna's one and only match, because after that match, Chyna told Bruce that she had shot in another adult film, and there was another adult film coming out. And immediately, TNA, we need to cut her loose. And I went to bat and I tried to explain, you know what? I'm sure making adult films is not, Joni's, choice of making a living, but she had to make a living. She had to get paid somehow, somewhere. She committed to that and did that before she came on board here. But, you know, they didn't want to hear it. You know, that she's not going to be part of this company if she's got another film coming out. That's why you never saw China again. We saw her that one time and that was it. So, Jeff, then I lose contact with her again, and I lose contact with her again because she ups and moves to Japan. Bro, Jeff, I can't even imagine. She had no family here. She thought she had a second life at TNA, and after one appearance, that's over with. You know, didn't have a boyfriend. Probably had very few real friends. Bro, she ups and leaves and goes to Japan not knowing a soul, not knowing anyone. So she's living in Japan now on her own, teaching English as a second language. Again, Jeff, I don't know how the reconnect was made, but she starts emailing me at that point. And she's emailing me about this book that she's working on. And she says, Vince, I've written some of it. I'm keeping it to myself. I'm not sure what I should do with it. You're the only one that I can send this to. You know, you're the only one that I trust. I want to send this to you, and I want you to read it. Okay? So, bro, she sends me the book, and in detail, this is the first time I'm hearing China's story. This is China's perception of the story. I'm hearing what led to the Stephanie Hunter, how that whole thing went down. I'm reading it for the first time in my life because I had no idea, and I never asked her. It was none of my business. So now I'm reading this. And, bro, as a writer, the emotion that she was putting in her words, I mean, the emotion was jumping out of that page. It was like every single ounce of fiber inside of her was coming out and going on that paper. And bro, from you know, she leads into their relationship, what happened, how she found out. Then she goes into a very turbulent relationship with Sean Waltman. And bro, I'm reading this and I'm like, oh my God, like I had no idea. Like I literally had no idea. I was so caught up in my own drama and my own soap opera. I had no idea what this woman is going through. Okay. So Jeff, I encourage her to keep going. And the main reason is, having written 2 books, if not for anything, I know how important it was for me to get my story out and how therapeutic that was and how much it helped me. And the way she was pouring out this story, I was like, keep going. So Jeff, from there, she Skypes me. And we have our very first face-to-face conversation since I saw her at TNA. And, you know, we're talking about things. We're talking about the book. She's telling me all about life in Japan and this, that, and the other thing. And, you know, it was a nice conversation, right? Well, Jeff, in the weeks to follow, like I'm on my computer very, very late at night, and she's trying to Skype me. And bro, a lot of the times, like it was, you know, 1 a.m, 2 a.m, and I was like, I don't want to have a hour conversation with Joni right now. I'll call her back in the morning. So a lot of times, bro, I let those calls go by. I would try her in the morning, and I could not get her on the phone. So finally, bro, she did one of these late night calls again. And I'm like, I better get this because I'm not having any luck during the day. I'm going to answer this one. So Jeff, I answer it. and she's on there about 2 in the morning, whatever. Jeff, she is out of it. Out of it. Scared the bejesus out of me. I don't understand what she's saying. She can't comprehend what I'm saying. Bro, I'm trying to keep her on the phone as long as I can, hoping she sobers up the time while she has me on the phone. Meanwhile, bro, I don't know if she's doing pills. Yeah, I know she had a bottle of wine with her because I kept telling her to stop drinking the wine. But from where I sat, I found it hard to believe that wine would F you up that much. So I tried to stay on the phone as long as I could with her, not understanding her, could not have a conversation with her, right? So, Jeff, this keeps happening. She keeps calling me in this state. And this is what people have to understand. While I'm getting these phone calls in the middle of the night, and Jeff, all I'm thinking of is the next morning after those calls, I'm going online because I'm thinking I am going to read a headline that they found Joanie Laurer dead in her apartment in Japan. I was convinced of that. So, Jeff, while I'm going through this with her, and you got to understand, bro, I'm here in Colorado. She's in Japan. Do you know how helpless I felt? Because I knew, like, okay, first things first, we have to get her out of there. We can't help her. God knows how many thousands of miles away. But, Jeff, she was so incoherent. There was no way she would have been able to get herself on a plane. Like, that's how bad it was. So I'm so frustrated. Like, what am I going to do? Like, literally, I'm starting to think now, do I have to fly to Japan myself and put her on a plane? Because she's not going to be able to do all that on her own. It's during this time that Triple H goes on the Austin podcast. And it's during this time that he makes the asinine comment of why Joanie is not in the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, you have to understand, Jeff, I am scared to death that this woman is going to die tomorrow. And Triple H is on, you know, it's the WWE network, but they have a much better following than Joanie does in her apartment in Japan. And he's going on there and just burying her. So now I'm like, oh my God, if she sees this in this state of mind, like what can possibly happen? So I had to make sure I got a hold of her. And bro, let me tell you why I got a hold of her. Somebody was running her Twitter account, and Triple H is saying all this stuff, and whoever is running her Twitter account is kind of like, I don't want to say putting it over, but like being very cordial to Triple H. Now, I'm saying in my mind, okay, I read the transcripts. I know what happened. I know how she really feels. That's not her. I knew it was not Chyna's voice. So finally, bro, I get her on the phone in the morning, and she's sober. And she knew what happened. She heard about it. I guess this guy that wrote her tweets smartened her up. And I said, did you tell him to tweet the things that he tweeted? And she goes, what are you talking about? I said, Joanie, this guy's tweeting things on your site like they're coming from you. And I said, and quite frankly, I got to be honest with you. It kind of pissed me off because I felt it made you look weak. You know, this guy's going on TV, making a mockery out of decisions you made out of necessity. And, you know, we're kind of saying that's okay. So that's where, bro, I gave her the opportunity. Listen, you need to speak up. You need to stand up for yourself. I don't care if you're in Japan. I don't care if you're in Timbuktu. You're Chyna. Don't allow anybody to talk about you that way. So that's when she came on the show, and I said, the floor is yours. Whatever you want to say, Joni, it is yours. And that's where, there is the interview, between Joni and myself. And of course, bro, that's what really put me in the doghouse with the WWE. Like, I care. Like, I really care. You're gonna take a woman who's on the other side of the freaking planet and struggling for her life, and go on TV with a smirk on your face and talk about little Johnny finding out about her porn career when she's dying. F you, bro. F you. I don't care if you blackball me. I don't care if you run a weekly series of Let's Bury Vince Russo. F you. She's a human being struggling, fighting for her life. And you're going to take cheap shots? F you. And I don't care. And I'm glad that I did that. And I'm glad that interview still exists to this day. So Jeff, from there, it's the same conversations with her. And I'm getting so frustrated. Jeff, I can't even start to have a conversation with her about China. We got to get you out of there because she's incoherent. Like, I'm right here. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Bro, some woman got involved. Her name was Margarita or something. A very nice woman that was helping China with her finances. Then all of a sudden, her old manager from LA, the guy's name is Anthony, he started getting involved. So now I'm talking to Margarita. I'm talking to Anthony. I got my lawyer involved. We need to get her out of there. Okay? Bro, I don't know how, but somehow, some way, Anthony was able to deliver Joni from Japan back to California, and she stayed with him. She had lived with him prior. He's just a manager. There was nothing. He was just looking out for her. Bro, I don't know how he did it. Okay? So, bro, now she's in LA now. Finally, Anthony, she's living with Anthony. I know Anthony's going to look over. Everything's going to be growing. Everything's going to be great. Bro, if you remember, she moves into like a beautiful townhouse down the road from Anthony. We did a video, and I said to her, show people where you live. Show them. She was clean, Jeff. She was sober. Lived right on the ocean. I mean, and I'm like, oh, thank God it's over. Thank God. Thank you. It's over. Okay. So Jeff, the next time I see her is at this convention I went to in November. Okay. And I knew she was going to be there, and we knew we were going to hook up, and her and Anthony were there. And once again, Jeff, like, with all the heartache and the turbulence and the addiction and the pills and the alcohol and all she went through, bro, she looked like $1 million freaking bucks again. Like, every time you saw her, Jeff, she just looked like $1 million bucks. So we start talking about this documentary that they're shooting. And Jeff, if you remember, we spoke about this a little bit on the show. Like, she's going on this documentary, she's going on YouTube, and she's apologizing to the WWE. Now, I want to make one thing perfectly clear, and I encourage people to watch the interview between China and I, and I'll tell you why. Because here's the issue. In that interview, China herself says, listen, Vince, Stephanie and Hunter fell in love. There's nothing you can do about that. They fell in love. Good for them. And you know what, Jeff? Because of that, obviously, it's probably going to happen that she's going to lose her job. Okay, they fell in love. The three of them can't work together. She loses her job. Okay, fine. But now you're going to strip her of the name that she built. You're going to strip her of her name that is going to prevent her from making a living? Because people ain't going to hire Joni Lauer, bro. They're going to hire China. So, her losing her fiance wasn't enough. Her losing her job wasn't enough. Let's take her name now so she can't get work. So now, bro, she's got to pony up with a lawyer and go through a legal battle just to get the name China back. Bro, that's where the trouble began. The trouble did not begin with two people falling in love. That's going to happen. China herself recognized that. That's going to happen. So now I'm like, what the frig are you apologizing for? What do you have to be sorry for? I said, she goes, well, Vince, I said some things about Stephanie and I said some things about Triple H that I shouldn't have said, and I'm sorry for. I said, Joni, I understand that, but you are a human freaking being. Anybody put in that situation, emotion is going to get the best of you. You're going to say things that you don't mean. It's acceptable, Joni. You got put through hell. And me personally, I don't think you owe anybody an apology. Bro, 2 weeks later, she's online cutting a video that's probably still out there, apologizing and saying, I just want closure. I just want closure. I just want to move on with my life. Bro, she's not asking for a job. She was not by any means hard up for money, bro. Anthony was booking her every single weekend. She did not need the money. You saw the beautiful place she was living in. She wanted closure from this incident. It left on very bad terms. Here she is, bro, 15 years later with no closure. So here she is saying, I'm sorry. I know I did some things wrong. Looking right into the camera, I'm sorry. I just want closure. I need closure to move on with my life. But, bro, there's no closure from the WWE. That's too much. That's too much. To let a woman, bro, who has been suffering now for 15, 16 years over this incident that led to a downward spiral. She's not asking for a job. She's not asking for money. She's not asking for help. She's asking for closure. But we're not going to give Joni Lauer closure. Bro, can you imagine if our God Almighty sat up there and made the decision of who he was going to throw love to and who he wasn't? I'm going to throw love your way, not you. Yeah, I'll throw love your way. You know. Yeah, I'm going to throw YOLO. No, we're going to throw Joni Lauer no love. But Joni asking for closure is too much for you. It's too much. You can't answer the phone when she calls the WWE offices. You can't call her in private and give her the closure that she's looking for. You can't show her love. It's always on their terms, bro. I always talk about this. There's an in list and there's an out list with the WWE. How you get on either side, I don't know. I don't know how they determine who goes on what side. All I know is a woman, a human being that gave you her life, that made you millions and millions and millions of dollars for your company, is asking for closure. And that's too much. You can't give her closure. So, Jeff, we have this discussion in November. She's still looking for the closure. Jeff, all of a sudden, probably starting in January, bro, I start getting voice messages. She's out of it again. And I'm like, oh my God. Jeff, that blindsided me because knowing Anthony live down the street, knowing she's back in LA, knowing I saw her in November, I'm thinking everything is fine, Jeff. So now all of a sudden, oh, there's a voicemail, China. And it was China from Japan. And Jeff, I'm like, oh, please, say it isn't so. So Jeff, I tried calling her, I don't get an answer. I tried, texting her. I'm not getting an answer. She leaves a couple of more of those messages in that same state with me. Okay. Finally, bro, I'm like, I have a 50-50 chance of getting a hold of her. And if I do get a hold of her, I probably have a 90 to 10 chance that she's going to be under the influence and I'm not going to be able to have a conversation with her. So Jeff, then I'm reading online what happened at WrestleCon. And I'm like, I cannot believe she's at the same place. And Jeff, I'm not going to lie to you. I am not going to sit here and tell you that if she received the closure that she'd been asking for and that she's been longing for 15 years, maybe she wouldn't have been in that state. I'm not going to say that because, Jeff, I'm going to tell you right now, she was a full-blown addict. She was. There's no question about that, bro. She was a full-blown addict. So I'm not going to say that had they given her the closure she was looking for and she was able to shut that book, might she have been able to move on? Bro, maybe not. But what would it have cost the WWE to give her that closure? Because you know what it comes back to, Jeff? Exactly what I said at the beginning of this conversation. Bro, she wanted to feel loved. She wanted love. She wanted China. That was in the past. It's over. It's done with. You are a great asset to this company. You always will be. No hard feelings, no nothing. Hugs all around. If there's ever anything we could do for you, if we can ever use you in any way, maybe we'll call you. That's it. Jeff, I have to ask you, and listen, you have an open mind. Go the other way. I'm not asking you to agree with me. What I'm asking you is when somebody that gave you their blood and their sweat and their tears and made you a shitload of money and has been struggling for 15 years, apologizes to you and says, I just want closure. Somebody needs to give me one reason why you don't give that person that closure.
You don't care. That's the only reason. You don't care. And I don't know if that closure.
Jeff, did you know? Jeff, let me tell you something. I think our interview with Kurt Angle ran today, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Jeff, the second part of the interview, Kurt and I start talking about the WWE. What does Kurt tell me, bro? What words does Kurt use with me? And you'll hear it for yourself next week. What words, Jeff? What does Kurt say to me?
I haven't listened to it yet.
What do you think he says to me? What does he want from the WWE, Jeff? Closure. Kurt Angle. Bro, we're talking Kurt Angle now. I don't want a job. It's not about working there again. I left on some pretty bad terms. I made some mistakes. I want closure. Bro, somebody needs to explain to me when you have a human being that is apologizing to you for mistakes that they made, and all they want from you is closure and nothing else. And it's free, Jeff. It doesn't cost you anything. It is free. How do you deny another human being peace? How do you deny them that, bro?
You wonder. You had a long conversation with her, and I think it was in that second interview in her apartment about the Hall of Fame because you didn't understand why it meant so much to her. But it did. She wanted to be in it. Now that you're saying how much she just wanted to be loved, that makes perfect sense. Because you know, you look at her from an outsider and from somebody that maybe is just a fan of professional wrestling, an expert in professional wrestling, whatever it is, they don't know the person Chyna. They can look at what she did on TV, and it's hard to argue against her being the greatest female performer of all time. She's an absolute legend. But in her mind, if the company that she gave all her blood, sweat, and tears to is not validating that by telling her that, by putting her in the Hall of Fame, that's where the issue comes from.
Jeff, she wasn't validated by her own parents. She wasn't validated by her fiance who went out and found somebody else. She's still looking for validation. That closure is validation. That's why in God's name would you hold that back? Bro, do you know? Let me tell you something. Because they didn't give the closure, Jeff, they deserve the guilt that they're going to live with for the rest of their lives. Because you know why, bro? Don't tell me that in the back of the minds of Vince McMahon and Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, and guess what, bro? Me saying this is never going to give me my closure, and you could scratch my ass because you could keep your closure. Don't think for 1 minute in the minds of Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, and Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Paul Levesque, in the back of their mind, they weren't thinking, God forbid, something happens to Joni. God, how is that thought not in your head when somebody is a full-blown addict for 15 years? How is that thought not in the back of your head? The fact of the matter is, it was in the back of your head. You didn't give a crap about her. You didn't care enough about her to even give her closure. And you know what? Here's the worst thing in the world. You got to live with that guilt now. You got to live with that guilt. And you know what? I don't care how many charity events you do. I don't care how many cures for kids that you have, that you parade around and show everybody what great philanthropist you are. I could care less. You knew a girl was struggling, and all that girl wanted was closure, and you couldn't give her closure because you didn't care about her. Remember the heat I got when I said something a couple of years ago because they were parading around at their thing, you know, Connor's care. Meanwhile, I knew Chyna was dying, and I simply said, okay, you're gonna pick and choose who you're going to help and who you're not going to help. And you're not going to tell me that's not PR? Are you, what was I, not born yesterday? That stinks of PR written all over it. And not only did you not help her, you couldn't give her closure, which was the only thing she was asking for, bro. And you know what? I hope that guilt tortures you for the rest of your life. And Jeff, here's the thing, bro. I don't know if anybody notices this or not. Bro, I guess I'm not going to be on JBL's show now, so I might as well say all this here. Bro, with the exception of Shane McMahon, who I don't bunch in with the other three, quite honestly. Do you notice, bro? Look, first of all, to my knowledge, Jeff, there was no Vince McMahon response.
I haven't seen one. The only responses I saw were from Stephanie and Triple H.
And the WWE.
Yes.
And the WWE. There was no. So she's not. Vince responded about Dusty. Vince responded about Roddy. But I guess Chyna's not in that category as a human being. But Jeff, I want everybody to go back and look. In the WWE official statement, in Hunter's official statement, in Stephanie's, of all three of them, bro, they all refer to Chyna as a pioneer. All three of them. So in other words, like, let me get this straight. You three are actually going to get together to decide what you're all going to say? Or did we coincidentally, all three of us, use the word a pioneer? You know what that tells me, bro? That tells me it's not from your heart, it's from your ass. The fact of the matter that all three, WWE, Stephanie, and Triple H, she was a pioneer. We all coincidentally came up with that term. First of all, bro, the WWE official has, bro, they have the gall to mention the titles she won. Listen, bro, we're not talking about China, a character here. We're talking about Joni Lauer. We're talking about a human being that gave you everything she had, and you could not give her closure. So you could call her a pioneer till the cows come home with that fake BS. And don't tell me it's fake, because there's no way all three statements coincidentally came up with that thing. Pioneer. Joni Lauer, the Joni Lauer I knew, the heart of that woman, always happy, always smiling, always laughing, would do anything for anybody, had a heart of gold, fighting for her life, not asking anybody for help. We're going to refer to her as a pioneer?
It just seemed like a term that they came up with because they still will not call her a legend. Screw pioneer is such a stupid word. She's a legend. She's the greatest female performer of all time. She's a legend. Give her that respect.
And so Jeff, let me bring you to the end. So, bro, I swear to you, Jeff, my day, I'm lost with my days, but finally last week, bro, I'm like, I've got to call Anthony. I got to find out how she is. So, bro, I called Anthony. Bro, this was maybe Thursday. I called Anthony. I got his voicemail. I called him the very next day because, bro, this was really weighing on me. Jeff, very rarely do I call somebody. If I call somebody and they don't call me back, I always wait for them to call me back because I realize I deal with a lot of busy people. It might take them 2 or 3 days. I called Anthony back the next day. That's how much it was weighing on me. And bro, Anthony was like, Vince, I had a falling out with her. I'm still keeping my eye on her. And he just confirmed, everything that I thought, told me everything about WrestleCon, the whole 9 yards. And he said to me, Jeff, and it was true, was reported today, they were putting an intervention together. And he mentioned people like Austin coming and Mick coming and her closest friends. That was in the works. Okay. But Jeff, you got to understand, Anthony lived with Joni and he knew her very well. Jeff, I'm telling you, he must have told me 6 times during that conversation, Jeff. But Vince, listen, don't worry about it. She's going to be okay. Bro, I'm telling you, he said this at least half a dozen times. Vince, I know Joni. She's not going to do anything stupid. She's not thinking about taking her own life. She's too smart to OD. I'm not worried about that at all, Vince. I'm not worried about that at all. We just got to get her the help that she needs. But bro, he repeated that like 4 or 5 times. And I mean, I believe that for a couple of reasons, Jeff. First of all, China was probably the most intelligent person I've ever met in my life. Second of all, she loved life. I mean, there was no question about that. And third of all, bro, she's been dealing with this for at least 15, 20 years. I mean, bro, if you're going to, if you go 15, 20 years and you're somehow able to balance this. So I felt a little better. Okay, Anthony's working on this. They're going to get it to this intervention. Anthony's confident that nothing's going to happen. She's not going to do anything stupid. Like I said, Jeff, this was probably Friday. You know what I mean? And then, the next thing I get is the call, from Kevin Nash. And Jeff, here's another thing I want to talk about. And maybe Joni wants me to say this as well, but this is what bogs my mind. I told you, Jeff, and Anthony confirmed this too. Bro, no matter what she was on, what she was drinking, no matter what, she looked like she never left the ring. She never put on weight. She continued to work out. She was talking about her hot yoga. Bro, if you look at that last video that she made that's on TMZ, what is she doing, bro? She's making a protein shake. Okay? She's making a protein shake. She's taking her supplements. Her body remained the most important thing to her. Okay? So then, bro, you read the police reports and you see where, where they say, there are about 3 or 4 prescription pill bottles found in her house. Now, I got to ask you, bro, China looked like just the model of health every time I saw her, Jeff. Jeff, what 3 or 4 prescriptions is she on? Like what does what are you prescribing a healthy girl? 3 or 4 different prescriptions. China wasn't sick. China didn't have a heart condition. China didn't have high blood pressure. China didn't have high cholesterol. What pills are you prescribing to a healthy human being?
Anxiety, depression, could be any of those. And the report that I read as of this recording is everything she had was legal. They were all prescribed to her. So it's not like she had illegal drugs in the house. So that would be my guess, unless some, you know the answer, you heard the answer. I mean, I'm on 2 medications, and none of it is for health reasons. You know what I mean? It's for anxiety and it's for ADD. So it could be a combination of a whole bunch of those things that she was prescribed.
And that's why I say, Jeff, because I've seen this so many times. That's why I deal with my ailments the way I do. Bro, all of us are the way we are based on our background, based on our childhood, based on what happened in our lives, the trauma in our lives, the disappointments in our lives. We become who we are by our background. I mean, that's the map. You look at the roadmap for any individual, all of a sudden, here's Vince Russo, 55 years old. This is why Vince Russo is that way. And bro, like, here's the thing, like, it's not an imbalance. It's not a chemical imbalance. Bro, if it was a chemical imbalance, then like, why didn't I have that chemical imbalance when I was 16? It's not a chemical imbalance because as my life went on, these things piled up and made it worse and worse and worse. And I realized they were my issues and they were my problems, and I had to work my way through them. And the last thing I wanted to do was medicate myself, because I could medicate myself 7 days a week. It ain't going to make my problems and my baggage go away, bro. What's going to help me more is to be able to talk about it, which is exactly why I did this show tonight, Jeff, because if I would have said nothing, every bit of that would have been like in my body up to here, bro. It would have been, and that would have been unhealthy. And that's what happens. Your problems are not going to go away because the doctor gives you a pill for anxiety or a doctor gives you a pill for depression. Whatever is making you depressed is still going to be there. You got to talk about it. You got to talk to people. You got to talk to your freaking family members. Go to therapy. But I mean, these doctors today, here's a pill for anxiety. Here's a pill for depression. Here's a pill for ADD. Here's a pill for this. Here's a pill for that. Next thing you know, bro, you're mixing 4 or 5 pills from 4 or 5 different doctors. So one doctor doesn't know what the other doctor prescribed you. All of a sudden, bro, you're taking a Molotov cocktail and you're dead. And I mean, there has to be some responsibility. I mean, my God, it's how a healthy girl is on 4 prescribed medications blows my mind.
Especially, nobody that I know anyway heeds the do not mix with alcohol warnings on the medication. But if it's true that she had 4 daily in her system and then she had too much to drink, what if she forgot that she took the medicine already in that day? I've done that before. I'll sit there and I can't remember. Did I take my pill today or not? I can't remember. And what if that happened and you got 4 sitting in front of you and you just take 4 because you don't remember taking them in the first place? There's so many things that can happen. It's just it's a dangerous game. It is. It's a dangerous game.
Well, Jeff, I just want everybody to know, because I knew China, the trailblazer. I knew Chyna the pioneer. I knew Chyna the first woman's intercontinental champion. I knew all that. And you know what? I could care less because Chyna was a character. Okay. Chyna did not win any belts. Okay. Chyna was an actor in a play. And the fact of the matter is, I knew Joanie Laurer. And I made the statement to, People magazine wanted to interview me. And I said, listen, I'm not doing any interviews. I said, this is all you have to know. It's not about what she did. It's about who she was. That's all you have to know. Because if you knew Joanie Laurer, Jeff, I'm telling you, in my 55 years of life, man, it's harder to come across somebody that was more giving and more loving than she was. And bro, I'm all sweated here and I lost my temper and I threw my closure with the WWE in the toilet. I threw my JBL interview in the toilet. I threw my Hall of Fame gimmick in the toilet. I just threw them all away. You know why? Because Joanie Laurer, the most loving, kind, giving individual I ever met in the wrestling business, just wanted closure. And if given that closure, you don't know how that might have changed her life around. You have absolutely no idea. You don't know. Jeff, we never will know. But the fact of the matter that human beings can be above other human beings. And even when they apologize unnecessarily, that's still not good enough for you. Shame on you. I hope that guilt drives you mad for the rest of their lives. But you know what, Jeff? It won't, because they don't care. But I want to tell you this, bro. The next time Stephanie McMahon and Triple H and whoever are parading around, sick children and women with breast cancer, and everybody's wearing pretty pink bows, and it's all plastered all over the show, bro, and all over their website. And Stephanie's given every quote to every magazine about Susan B. Anthony. I want everybody to remember that they couldn't give one woman who gave them everything and who was the most loving and kind woman I ever met. They could not give one human being closure. You know why? That doesn't give them PR. That doesn't give them PR. That doesn't give them what does that do for them, bro? Okay, bro, after 15 years of a living hell, that would have made Joanie Laurer feel better. What does it do for them? And at the end of the day, bro, that's what it comes down to. It's all about them. And let me tell you people out there something. Let me tell all you newbies in the WWE something, because let me make one thing perfectly clear. We see it with Tammy Sytch. Joanie Laurer is now dead. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. Everybody that protects and defends the WWE and kisses Vince's butt and Hunter's butt and Stephanie's butt to secure their spot. Let me tell you, beautiful ladies and women, all of you on Total Divas, let me tell you something. When they're done with you and no longer have any use for you, you will be kicked to the curb. I've said it a million times and over and over and over again. And I hope now you understand that one woman was just asking for closure, but they were too above it all to even give that. Not money, not a job, not help, not treatment, closure. But the fact of the matter that it didn't benefit them. What's giving closure to Joanie going to do for us? Make us feel good about ourselves? We don't need to feel good about ourselves. We're sons of bitches anyway. What do we care? All we care about is money. That's all we care about. That's all they had to do. And at the end of the day, Like I said, bro, I'm not going to sit here and say that if she would have sat down with them and gotten her closure, she would have been okay. I'd be an idiot to say that. Bro, she was a full-blown addict. She was a full-blown addict because of the circumstances that led to it. But there is nobody that can tell me, having known her personally, there is nobody that can tell me that could not have possibly been the step in this direction of sobriety. Because all she wanted, Jeff, was acceptance and love, which is free, which costs you nothing, and you could not give that to her. I mean, what were you going to do? What were you going to make this girl beg? Was that the next step? Joni Lauer, get on your hands and knees and beg us to forgive you. And then maybe we'll talk to you then. I don't understand what she was supposed to do. And you know what? That's across the entire wrestling business. And why do you think I come on here every single week and say, treat freaking human beings like human beings? Treat them with love and treat them with respect. No one person is on top of another. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how big your house in Connecticut is. I could care less. There's one God Almighty that created everybody equal, and he had two rules. And those rules were love me and love your neighbor like you love me. Period. End of story. Not too difficult when you think about it. But when we love ourselves and we can't give people below us the right time of day, bro, listen, I know Joni Lauer, and bro, I am telling you right now, Jeff, it tells you in the Bible, the gifts don't come on this earth. The houses, the expensive cars, the bank accounts. Because you know why, Jeff? When you die, you go with nothing. You leave with nothing. It doesn't matter who you are. The gifts are when you arrive in heaven. And here's God at the pearly gates. And here comes this Joni Lauer. And God looks directly in the heart of Joni Lauer. Joni, my daughter, I've been waiting for you. And just lays the gifts down at her feet that she has accumulated over her entire 45 years on this planet, Jeff, by treating people with love and respect. Bro, I was there when she was signing autographs, and every person would come up and she'd stop and she'd talk to them and she'd get their name. The whole 9 yards. Nobody was better than her. In her mind. No, not better than her. She was better than nobody. Nobody, bro. She treated everybody the same across the board. And what did God say? Treat your neighbor like you would treat me. So she's going to go there and she's going to be judged by God. And God's going to say, Joni, I got to tell you, I don't know. Bro, I don't know if you got the closure there you were looking for. I don't know if you got the love there you were looking for, the pat on the back there that you were looking for. I don't know if you got any of that. But let me tell you something. That was coming from human beings, which meant absolutely nothing. But from me, you're going to get the highest recommendation that anybody can give you. The way you lived your life and the example that you showed. And did you have your demons, Joni? Yes, you had your demons. That was part of who you were. But that never led to you treating people nasty, thinking you were better than anybody, not making people laugh, not going out of your way. That never kept you from doing any of that. So you want your letter or recommendation, you're going to get it now from the only person that counts, and that's me. And let me tell you something, bro. When those people are judged and God asks the simple question, why couldn't you give closure to a human being that humbled themselves at your feet and apologized to you? You couldn't give them closure for what? Reason? Oh, you were too busy. I get it. You were too busy making millions of dollars. So you couldn't love and show the love to one of my children that I show to you. Oh, okay. I get it. Because, bro, let me tell you, Jeff, that day is coming. And that's why I say it all the time, bro. Every person listening to this podcast, bro, I don't care whether you're a Christian or not. I don't care. You should live every day of your life like it is your last day on earth. And the greatest gift that God has given you is the ability to treat other people with love, kindness, and respect. And let me tell you something. If you can't do that, do you really think he's going to give you anything else? Something as simple as love me, love your neighbor. You can't do that, and he's going to give you more to do? So, Jeff, that's it. I just I'm glad that's out of my system. Every word of that came through me. I take full responsibility for every single word I said tonight. You are not going to see a retraction. You are not going to see an apology. I spoke for myself. I spoke for God, and I spoke for the way we need to conduct ourselves here on this planet. And when somebody humbles themselves before you, and you cannot give them the closure or the forgiveness that they're asking for, you're in for a rude awakening. And that's not me talking. I'm telling you right now, that's not me talking. And I'll tell you something else. You have the opportunity to change your ways. Everybody listening to this has the opportunity to change their ways. If you don't change your ways, that's your decision, but get ready to pay those consequences. And I'm going to tell you right now too, bro, Joni Lauer spent a good part of her life, bro, a good 20 years struggling for her life on this planet. But I will end this by saying right now, as she looks down on all of us, she is the happiest person in the world. She has met her maker. Her maker has thanked her for everything she brought to us. You know, bro, it's tough, bro. It's a fine line. When somebody leaves us, we mourn, we're upset, we're going to miss them. But I got to tell you, bro, there's a whole other side to that. And this is what I look at now when I look at Joni. Bro, there's no doubt in my mind. God blessed me with an angel entering my life. It's as simple as that, bro. Whenever I met Joni, 1996, God gifted me with, Vince, here's an angel in your life. Love her, learn from her, respect her. She's going to be a part of your life now. So am I heartbroken? Yes. Am I ripped apart? Yes. Am I thankful that I had Joni in my life for the best part of 20 years? Yes. That was an absolute gift from God. And like I said, Jeff, I know she's looking down. I know she's pain-free. I know she's sitting at the right hand of God with a huge smile on her face. I know they're pampering her. I know they're telling her how much they love her. I know that they're giving her the affirmation that she never got. And that's what gives me the strength to be able to get through losing just such a great human being.
Well said.
So that's it, everybody. And again, I'm sorry that I was emotional. I knew I would be. This was not rehearsed. I knew I would cry. I knew I would yell. There were a couple times that I felt my blood pressure rising, Jeff. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought, this might be a heart attack on camera. I was starting to think that, but I told you before I did this thing, I prayed to Joni. I prayed to God, get me through this. Whatever it is you want me to say, whatever it is you want to deliver it. Because, bro, I will take full responsibility for the words of Joni Lauer and absolutely the words of the Almighty God. So everybody, thanks for sitting through that. Jeff, I want to thank you.
Not
Jeff,
necessary.
yeah, no,
Not
Jeff,
necessary, man.
hold on, man. You know, Jeff, it was just, you got to understand it was important to have somebody like you today, like who I knew, like just got it. You know what I'm saying, bro? Who I knew. Listen, Jeff has been around me long enough now. He knows what I'm feeling. He knows what I'm going through. He knows what to do. He knows how to act. He knows what room to give me. And that's why it was important for me that you come on this show, because I knew I would lose it. And, you know, I need a rock. I need a rock there. I need somebody that understands me, you know, to be there. And, you know, Jeff, that's, you know, that is why you are a part of this. And, you know, it was just special for me to also be able to share this with you. And again, bro, I just want to thank you for that.
Well, man, we've talked numerous times about this. This isn't a job for me. This is me talking with a friend every time we come on here every day. And this was no different. So I thank you for your friendship. So you got nothing to thank me about, man.
All right. Well, everybody, listen, I'm going to, you know, this podcast is going up for everybody. I want everybody to see this podcast because, like I said, I'm speaking for my friend, and I'm speaking for somebody that I loved with all my heart and soul. And I want the world to see this. No regrets, no apologies. And this will be up, you know, sometime tonight. I thank you all for going through this process with me. I thank you all. And I said this at the beginning, and like, this is really the most important thing. As much, and Joni knows this. You have to know that Joni knows this. As much as a Vince McMahon and a Triple H and a Stephanie did not get it, every single one of Joni's fans did. Every kind word and tweet and direct message and email and text message, every single thing that I read today, you absolutely got it. This is a woman that brought joy to your lives. And you embraced that, and you never forgot that, and you thanked her for that. And that right now is the most important thing to her, hands down. And that's why I know there's a large majority of the people out there that get it and treat people like equals, and aren't afraid to put other people up, aren't afraid to say, we appreciate you, we love you, we miss you. Is there anything we could do? I saw you back in 1996 with my grandfather, and I'll never forget you. There are people that get it and appreciate other human beings. And like I said, at the end of the day, you know, those counting the $100 bills in their castles, they're not expected to get it. They're not expected. God says money is the root of all evil. God says that. God says you can't have money and you can't have me. He says pick one. Make your choice. You can't have money and you can't have me. You can't honor me and honor money at the same time. So those counting their $1,000 bills in the ivory towers, they can't honor God because they're honoring money. But all you people, all the fans and all those that loved her, and all of us that are in this together, that sent the heartfelt messages all day long, that's all that mattered to her. That's what she saw. She got her confirmation today, not only in heaven, on this planet. That's what counted. The confirmation from every one of you that took the time out today to say, Joni Lauer, you affected my life. That's the confirmation she was looking for. And she got that today. And I can't tell you how proud that makes me of humankind. because that's what it's all about. Some of us get it and some of us don't. And I'll tell you right now, those of you that don't, you need to smarten up because you're not going to like the consequences. You heard it here from Vince Russo. Joni, we love you. We will never, a day won't go by that I won't think about you. And the Steve Austins and the Rocks and the Mick Foleys and the Shawn Michaels and every fan and every single life that you touched, you will never, ever be forgotten. I will make sure that your name goes on forever. I love you, Joni. Take care, everybody.